Trump, BlackRock, Larry Fink, and Satoshi, what do they all have in common? And what the heck happened over the last 3 years? We went from cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin, being used for money laundering, it a pet rock, and it is the worst thing ever, to Larry Fink in 2023, boom, flipping and admitting that he was wrong and it's a flight to quality, to Trump, the video I showed you yesterday, saying crypto is it, this is it. And 3 years ago that he started buying Bitcoin. Very different narrative that he said when he was in the presidency last time. He said he's a dollar guy, to cryptocurrency. Ray Dalio flipped, said, man, maybe 5% of my portfolio. Robert Kiyosaki, all in, the third wealthiest person in Mexico, a billionaire, all in on crypto. RFK, almost all of his wealth in Bitcoin. JD Vance, $500,000 in cryptocurrency. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, going to be a billionaire in Bitcoin. Should I continue on? So if you're not awake yet, it's time to wake up and get ready now. They're about to lower interest rates, and it may not be next month, but it will be in the next 6 months. They're going to lower interest rates, and they're going to try to bring it down to close to zero as possible. And they're going to turn this printing machine back on. If you don't understand how the monetary system works, that we're in a debt-based system, and then every single hard-earned dollar that you get paid in is someone else's debt, you're going to get caught on the wrong side of this by 2030. The middle class is getting wiped out, leverage towards technology, moving down to the working poor. And we have this beautiful opportunity to literally see exactly what they are doing. So in my videos, I keep you calm, I keep you stoic, but you need to turn up the heat just a little bit in your studying, and you need to pay attention. And you need to stop listening to these riddlers. You need to stop listening to the get rich quick and get really fundamental and real world solve assets and build an actual portfolio that is here to stay inside crypto and diversify outside of crypto in things that will always be here. So I'm going to break down the facts, figures, numbers, logic. And on the back end of every video, I'm going to share with you exactly what I'm doing. We're not going to give you a fish. We're going to give you a fishing pole and teach you how to fish. All right, let's dive right in. So the first thing I'm going to show you is from Good Morning Crypto, one of the greatest morning shows, crypto morning shows in human history. And check out their Good Evening Crypto as well with Johnny and Abs. So Abs posted this, says breaking SEC acknowledge amendment to convert Grayscale's digital large cap fund into ETFs, including BTC, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and ADA. Interesting. Trump's tweet, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and ADA. Interesting. All the real world solve assets we've been talking about since 2020. This is super bullish. Bloomberg raises approval odds for spot XRP, Solana, LTC, ETS to 95%. I hope you're buckled up. This rocket ship is going to take off, and what's going to happen is everybody's going to FUD. Fear, uncertainty, now they're going to come flooding in on the back end of the year. And I do believe we're going to have a bear market. Now, I am okay being wrong. I am okay being wrong and not having a bear market in 2026. But I just don't believe that the full market is ready for this. I think that we have, well, only 95% of the population does 95% of the population does not have exposure to crypto. Everybody's still operating in the fiat system. So I don't think that all of a sudden we're going to have this full adoption within 12 months, right? And if we're still in a fiat system, as Jackie says, head of our crypto, is we're going to have a pullback, and you need to prepare for that. That's very, very, very important, because what happened in 2022, everybody came rushing in 2021, and they got wrecked in 2022. We pulled profits. We built ecosystems. We built kingdoms around we built a moat around our kingdom, protection, leverage, and cash flowing assets. Okay. So this is where the narrative kicks in. Okay. And I'm going to start to tie the dots together around Larry Fink, Donald Trump, and Satoshi. Remember, Satoshi's number one in Bitcoin, number one holder. We don't know who that is. BlackRock is number two. And America, so then it's Grayscale, then it's America. Okay. Then China. So the top four holders outside of Satoshi are BlackRock, Strategy B, which BlackRock is the number three holder, Grayscale, and America. I don't know, man. Did we get played? Because all of a sudden in 2022, it was anti-government. And then in 2023, BlackRock got involved. And then by 2024, Trump's hanging out at the Bitcoin conference. And then by 2025, I was at the Bitcoin conference, and there was politicians, there were senators, Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Cynthia Loomis. It went from anti-government to cheering on the government and bringing it underneath the government with the Bitcoin strategic reserve to save the monetary system. I don't know, man. As they tell you to look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. Okay, so this is a narrative that we really need to pay attention to right here. So just in, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent claims he is working on Chair Powell's successor over the coming weeks and months. Okay, this is where it's going to get really interesting. Treasury Secretary Bessent says crypto stablecoin legislation could be finalized by mid-July. So we're hitting this pressure cooker now. Okay, we got the Genius Act passed. Got the stablecoin locking in, regulation locking in. They're going to come out with rules of the road, and they said that they pushed that till September for banks to operate. Okay, they got a signed deal with China around the tariffs. We're going to have trillions of dollars flooding into America. They're going to bring down rates over the next 60 days, and then all of a sudden they're going to start printing more money than in history, and they're going to grow their way out of the economy. Okay, now I love this post from this gentleman, Rick Lennon. Okay, so now this is where my narrative comes in. All of a sudden, the video with Trump. He's like, I've been buying Bitcoin since 3 years ago. I started getting into it 3 years ago. Okay, I remember in his presidency before, he said he's a dollar guy, not a crypto guy. Comes back and runs at as a Bitcoin capital of the world and the crypto president. Crypto's here to stay. Okay, we're done with that. Crypto's here to stay. It is part of your monetary system. Bitcoin is gold. XRP is a bridge currency. Those are my two top holdings. My top 3 holdings will be by 2030. I'm going to be holding as much Bitcoin, as much XRP. XRP is number 1. Bitcoin will be number 2 for me, and Solana number 3. Those are my top 3 holdings. Those will be that's what I'm going to stack my bags in. Those are safe bets for me. Safe bets. Now I got my other cryptos like HBAR, XLM. I have Cardano, VeChain. Those are my top 6. I think I just gave to you guys. But the top 3 that I'm going to stack RWA is going to be XRP, Bitcoin, Solana. XRP, Bitcoin, Solana. I'm working to pack my bags as much as I can over the next 4 years. Okay, life-changing wealth coming. Okay, I love this post from Rick Lennon. It says, "Is Satoshi Nakamoto a stoic?" I was like, yes, he is. His famous quote reflects stoic composure, showing indifference to the opinions of others and focusing on what is within one's control. A core principle of Stoicism. It is a practice that I focus on daily for me, my family, and my ecosystem. This is from Satoshi. If you don't believe it or don't get it, I don't have the time to try to convince you. Sorry. Sorry. That's what he's saying right there. He doesn't have the time to convince you. And by the time you're convinced, it will be too late. We are starting to hit that point where it's going to be too late. People say to me, Bitcoin's at 108. Why would I buy in? People told me that at 25,000 when I was buying it. We're buying the bottom of the future top. People are like, why would I buy XRP at $2? It used to be 50 cents. You're buying the bottom of the future top. And what people are going to say is, well, I'm going to wait till it goes down. Well, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? And then they're going to be saying, oh, I should have bought it at 5. I should have bought it at 10. I should have bought it at 50. I should have bought it at 100. I should have bought Bitcoin at 200,000. The longer you wait, money compounds every 7 years at 10%. Every second you wait is another day you're not compounding. Think about this. Would you rather hold your money in a US dollar that's deflating by every single minute you walk, every single hour you work at work, you're becoming poor? Or would you rather transmute it like the elites right now into deflationary assets are going to grow over time? It might look like this in the short term, but in the long term, Bitcoin, XRP are going to continue. Solana are going to continue to go like this. And over the long term, you'll sit in a job, or people will sit in a job for 30 years to retire with $275,000 to maybe $1 million. At 4% interest, $1 million is $40,000 in retirement income. But they won't hustle and grind for 6 years, humble themselves, create a budget to retire with more money they could ever imagine. Okay. So we got Trump all in on Bitcoin. Okay. Then we go into BlackRock. The very person who told you to choose for money laundering now holds 3.25% of the supply of Bitcoin. Larry Fink in BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world. He's been a trusted advisor of Trump. So isn't that interesting? Trump said yesterday, about 3 years ago, he started getting into it. That's the exact same time that Larry Fink said it's now a flight to quality. There's something going on behind the scenes, guys. They knew this was coming. This is methodically planned out. And then boom, this hit yesterday. Just in, I've been telling you guys, Kraken, Coinbase, Ripple, they're all going to become banks. The very thing when we were running from the traditional banking system to decentralization, they just set a net on the other side, guys. It's the same system, just tokenized. That's it. That's it. It's a new system. Just in, Circle applies for U.S. National Trust Bank license. So here's what's going to happen. It's time to wake up, guys. Start getting ready now. The first thing you need to do is study what the Federal Reserve is, okay? Read the book Creature of Jekyll Island. They're not federal nor they're reserve. Their job is to control money supply and the job markets. And they've collapsed our dollar from 97 to 99% since 1913. Specifically since 1971, when we detached from the gold standard, our money is fake. It's fiat. It's fake money. Okay, you get paid in Monopoly money. Go play the game Monopoly every single week. Okay, play it with your kids. Who wins the game? The person who owns what? Not all the cash, the assets. The assets. The person who's collecting rent. Okay, one man's debt is another man's assets. One man's asset is another man's debts. You have to learn how to get on the other side of that. Okay, so you're paid in another man's debt. Your debt goes into your bank account. They take your debt and they lend it to Bobby walking in. Bobby takes that loan and he puts it in the bank and they lend it 9 times over and no new money's been created. And what they're about to do is lower interest rates and boom, they're going to turn that printing machine back on. And we're going to get really excited because all this money is going to flood into our pockets, lower taxes, lower interest rates, lower gas prices, lower egg prices. You're going to have a bunch of monopoly money in your bank account. And guess what? That can't continue forever. That's why Larry Fink, BlackRock, is the largest holder in Bitcoin now outside of Satoshi. That's why the Trump family is stacking Bitcoin, RWA assets. Okay. That's why Trump mentioned XRP, Bitcoin, Solana, ADA, and Ethereum. Real world assets. They're getting set up in the brand new monetary system. And here's the beautiful part about it. You can too. Trump wants you to win. He literally told you to buy 3 times. Did you listen? Probably not. Most people didn't. He said, buy now, buy now, buy now. And I still have people come to me. Is it a good time to get in? I don't know. I don't know what your situation is, but I do know that I buy it every single day. Here's what I do. Every single day, I buy Bitcoin and XRP. Every month, I buy more Solana. I have my other bags packed in my cryptos. The reason why I do that is every day I transmute some of my wealth into deflationary assets that are going to go up and have a fixed supply outside of the US dollar, which is infinite. It just keeps getting printed and devalued. Every single week, okay, when I get paid from my companies, I'm either protecting my money into cash value life insurance, okay? I'm either putting into a deflationary asset that's going to grow over time and appreciate that I can borrow and leverage, or I'm buying cash flow through cash generating dividends that pay me a large amount of money. It's 10% of my earned income goes into those, their highest risk. 10% of my wealth is in there, which gives me the largest return. That's creating cash. The cash goes back into deflationary assets, okay? Then I have the protection component. I use cash value life insurance, and then we have the leverage component. So we're building a Bitcoin bank and an insurance bank. So now I'm in first position. I no longer have to go to the banks anymore. If my family and I, if we want loans, we go to our Bitcoin, we can leverage our assets, or we can leverage our insurance. We're in first position. The example that I give you guys, and this, I'm giving you a real world example of what I did. You can do this for anything, but one thing is responsibly leveraging, right? Americans irresponsibly leverage. We leverage to take away from our future selves. We leverage to get a 72-month auto loan that takes away from our future family. We leverage to get a mortgage we can't afford because we can extend it out over 30 years. We get a credit card to go on vacation and go on cruises because we're extending our buying power without the ability to pay for it. Okay. But what wealthy people do is they use leverage to buy cash generating assets, whether it's real estate, whether it's businesses that we patronize, right? So think about that. So the wealthy use leverage to buy cash generating assets. So I went to my Bitcoin, I took it over, I put it in salt, I locked up a certain amount of Bitcoin. I borrowed 70% LTV. I took that tax-free money, They put it in my bank account in 24 hours. Boom. I didn't have to go to Wells Fargo Bank and give them my LLC paperwork and my firstborn and a blood sample. Once the KYC was done after 2 weeks, boom, got my money, got my cash tax-free. Remember, loans are tax-free, 14% interest on my money. I got to pay them back 14% interest for borrowing their liquidity. My Bitcoin never got sold, no taxable event. I went and bought my firm. Now, here's the key. The firm is already making money, so I knew that I could pay it back very quickly. Paying it back, my LTV continues to go like 70%, 60%, 50%, right? As I make the payments, my LTV comes back. Okay. Then once that's done, I now bought a cash generating business and I made 36% on my money because Bitcoin goes up 50% every year. I borrowed at 14%. I beat the hurdle rate. Now Strike is doing 9%. So imagine if I would have done Strike. Coinbase is letting you lend at 5%. Now 5%, it's variable, very, very important. Okay. Then on my dividend side, that's a stock side. So, this is anybody on your stock side. I have these stocks stacking up, it's a cash flow play, but I also can borrow against my stocks. I can borrow against my stocks to buy more cash generating assets. That's the key to wealth. Read the book, Richest Man in Babylon. If you can reframe your mind over the next year, as these interest rates go down and they start printing money and you have more money in your pocket, then you can build wealth for your family. Okay. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you exactly what I do. I think there's a big difference in regards to that. What I hope that you'll do is study things like The Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Cash Flow Quadrant. Study the wisdom of King Solomon. Okay. If you're just sitting in cryptocurrency waiting for a savior, you're not going to make it. I don't mean to be that direct, but you're not going to make it. It's disheartening to see people like following like Riddler. Oh, it's going to hit this and it's going to do this. If you're waiting for a savior, you're going to be waiting for a long time. While you're waiting, build empires, create cash flow, create a budget, buy cash flow, take the cash flow, de-risk, protect your family, build an ecosystem, build a fortress, excuse me. It's extremely, extremely important because crypto is not going to save you. It's going to allow you the opportunity to get a larger amount of wealth to accelerate the plan, right? We broke the matrix because money compounds every 7 years at 10%, but our XRP went up 600% since 2020 when Trump got elected, 195% when he got elected. That's breaking the money matrix. But if you don't take that and you put it into how money actually works, protection, leverage responsibly, buy more cash flow. Protection, leverage responsibility, buy more cash flow. Cash is trash, guys. If you can't make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett also, rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, follow rule number 1. Okay, super, super important that we financially educate ourselves. We're going to get about it. Trump's going to bring so much wealth in this economy. So get prepared. Buckle up. If you need any support at all, okay, if you click the description of this video down below on YouTube or you click my social media platform, you're going to see a couple resources, okay? I got my free guide for you, the Warrior's Guide to Financial Freedom. It's my exact guide. It shows you the ecosystem I brought down. It's absolutely free. It's a free download. It'll be in your inbox. I also have a beautiful academy down there. You'll see the descriptions of it. I've helped 11,500 people worldwide, 20 different countries, all get their shit together. We don't give you a fish. We teach you how to fish. And I also have my own elite team, Freedom Insurance. It's my company where we teach people how to properly structure and properly fund cash value life insurance to bank on yourself, to properly leverage, and to use these to build wealth and legacy for your family. And that's an absolutely free consultation. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. If you need anything, just reach out to my team. And as we always say, Warriors, rise. Get your shit together. God bless you.